the skills in the clips that you just watched have in common. They all take balance. And that's what we're gonna be working on in this week's video lesson at the Freedom of Motion location in Loma Linda, California. First, you might be saying, Coach, what did any of those things have to do with balance? Like, they weren't standing on an object, just balancing in place or anything. And that's what we're gonna talk about right now. We're gonna go over two of the key things about why balance is possibly the most important skill in all of parkour. So we got two factors here, two things that balance practices really, really well. And one of them is your proprioception, which we're gonna talk about in a minute. And the other one is your stability strength. So number one, let's talk about that weird word, proprioception. Proprioception basically means coordination. It's your body's understanding of where it is in space. So, like when you're standing up, your proprioception understands that your head is up, your feet are down, and you move your arm, your body knows your arm is out to the side. What balance is practicing is fine-tuning all that little stuff that you're doing when you're standing around to get it super sharp and precise, so that you don't have to try as hard to keep yourself on balance naturally. The way I think about it is proprioception is like a muscle. If you work it out by doing balance, everything that you do that has to do with your coordination, which is anything in parkour, will greatly benefit from it. So number one, proprioception is gonna be entirely huge for all of that, and that's exactly what balancing is working on. And then number two, our stability strength. So a key thing that balance is also practicing is it uses a lot of our muscles throughout our entire body to keep ourselves stable in place from falling off. And some of those muscles can be really hard to work out, but with balance, by adjusting the way we're positioning and what we're doing and the intensity, we can really strengthen those muscles so that we can take more impact, we can have more quiet landings, and we can just overall be a healthier athlete for all that we're doing in parkour. And you know, that is one of the key values of parkour. So now that we understand a little bit about why balancing this weird thing is so important, I'm gonna show you guys a few ways that you can practice balance so that you can get all that strength, get all that coordination, and be an amazing athlete. Oh, and did I mention we're not gonna need any equipment for this lesson? Haha, all you need is the floor. All right, so let's get started with some challenges for our balance. So we're gonna start off first with just standing on one foot. You can do this by just standing on one foot, or you can change it to make it a little bit harder depending on where you are with balance. So first, standing here, some of you guys will be really easy. What you can do is try standing up on your toes and doing the same thing. After you can do that, you can try standing on your toes and lifting your leg up higher, as changing your body positioning will always be changing the way you're balancing, and therefore can add some difficulty. Another thing I want to really make sure you guys know is that whenever you practice on one side, make sure you practice on the other side as well. It's really important to become ambidextrous in our skills, especially balance. So my challenge for everyone watching this is to practice trying these skills, working up from one foot in the air to going on your toes, to maybe lifting that foot a little higher in the air. And then a special challenge I have for you guys is to try doing whatever level you're at, but looking up at the ceiling while doing it. Changing your head positioning, specifically looking up, is an easy way to make balance significantly harder. Our body's really used to having our head forward all the time, or side to side, but we don't normally look up a lot. So when we're balancing, looking up becomes very difficult for us. So anytime you guys are trying balance and you feel like, you know what, this just isn't hard enough, if you're not looking up yet, try it. It'll be significantly harder there. So after you've got that, we're gonna change from just balancing on one foot to trying some different kinds of balance. So as I mentioned earlier, our proprioception is one of the key things that we're working on right now. And that envelops not just standing right up, but also wherever we're facing, including upside down and all those sorts of things. So what we're gonna get to practice a little bit here is gonna be some handstands. Now, if you can already do handstands, that's excellent. Really great. do them. I'll have some challenges for you there in a minute, but for now, if you can't do a handstand yet, that's totally fine. They're kind of hard. So let's just try going down into this front lunge position with your hands on the floor. And what you could do is practice looking down between your legs and kicking your feet up behind you, just like this. I'm going here, I'm gonna tuck my head in, and I'm gonna kick my feet up a little bit and try to look as high up as I can. What this is doing is it's changing my body's orientation, so I'm upside down, which might be something that you're not quite used to. So immediately that is going to be challenging your proprioception, and you might get a little bit dizzy. Whenever we're practicing balance, changing our orientation, a little bit of dizziness might come in. And that's okay. Just remember, take breaks as you need. You don't need to be rushing through this, as the more you get dizzy, the worse it's going to be. And it's not really going to help you too much either. But once you're not dizzy, you're going to keep progressing with that, trying to kick up higher and higher, working your way up. So eventually, you get to around this position. And that's about where we're going to stop for if you cannot do a handstand yet. Now, if you can already do a handstand, challenges I have for you are going to be trying to stay in place, walk, and walk backward. Hold on, and walk backward. No. Practicing both being able to stay still in your handstand and being able to move around in it will definitely increase your proprioception for that orientation. So if you practice that a lot, I'm sure you'll notice some improvement in your handstands very quickly. So moving on from being upside down, we're gonna go back to working on being right side up, with instead balancing this way. We're gonna balance this orientation in a squat. So we're gonna start off first with squatting down. We're gonna start in this position, arms out. Our counterweights here are gonna be our arms, our knees for pulling us forward, and our hips for pulling us back. And we're just gonna try to stand on our toes. So just like this, heels in the air, in a nice low squat, trying to hold your balance. Once you can do that, you're gonna try standing up about halfway, still staying on your toes for a little more difficulty. And then you can try standing all the way up, as high as you can on your toes to make it harder. Once you can do that, you're gonna try looking up at the ceiling, seeing how that feels. And then we're gonna start moving around in this position. So being on our toes, eyes up. We're gonna try to do first a jump. So you're gonna go here, jump up, try to land back up on your toes. Even better if you can jump up, land on your toes, and stay in place. Once you can try that, we're gonna try doing the same thing with a turnaround. So you're gonna start facing one way, look up, jump, and twist around. Remember, we are focusing on staying up on our toes, using our knees bent to help us balance, using our arms in front, knees in front, and hips in back. So, the last challenge I have for you guys with this one is me looking up on the ceiling, running in place, jumping and turning around, and moving between, balancing on one foot to the other consistently. Trying to connect a bunch of skills together will increase the difficulty by a lot because you're gonna have to be working on a lot more in a short amount of time. So doing them all together plyometrically like that will be a great way for a high level challenge for your balance. Looking up and jumping when there's a light right above you makes it really hard to see afterward. So we've talked a lot about that proprioception side of balance, but we haven't really talked about the other side, which is gonna be our stability strength. So by practicing what we're doing in the proprioception balance, you're already working on a little bit, but there are things we can do to specifically increase the difficulty of those muscles in particular. Number one is in our sideways orientation here, practicing squats, just like this. You're just gonna be practicing squatting up and down, staying there. Along with holding the position would be perfect. What I suggest is practicing holding a half squat with your heels in the air and trying to hold this for about 10 seconds. What we're then going to switch to is going to be forward balance, we're gonna go to a lunge position. Lunge position is going to be one knee at 90 degrees, the other one behind at 90 degrees as well. Holding this position. You're gonna try to hold it for, again, 10 seconds. And we're gonna practice switching sides back and forth. For added difficulty, you can stand on your toes. Another really great stability muscle exercise that I have for you guys is going to be practicing doing some hip circles standing. So we're gonna be standing with one leg in the air, holding our leg up, pulling it out to the side, then tilting it over, pulling it back, down, and then back up in front of us. All trying to keep as still as we possibly can. If you can, try to keep all of your body completely still, except your leg. It's pretty difficult. Try to do as best you can. That is a wonderful stability strength workout. And last, but most definitely not least, we have a high level balance stability challenge that I have for you guys. And that is gonna be trying pistol squats. A pistol squat is where you stand on one leg raised, your other leg raised in front. You're gonna squat all the way down and stand all the way back up. This is a high level challenge. It takes a lot of strength. Some ways you can work up to this, starting with one foot just out in front of you, squatting up and down that way, and trying to slowly ease your way off that foot, where you're doing it without your foot hitting the ground at all. It also comes to say that the lower you squat down, the harder it will be. So another great way to work up to it is by only squatting down a little bit of the way. But just know, that means it's only working out some of your range of motion. So when you can do them all the way, you'll be getting the full workout. When you're only able to do it halfway, you will not. That is the final strength challenge I have for you guys, and I strongly encourage you for this one. Let me know if you get it in the comments. Pistol squats are hard. So before we finish off this video, I just want to remind you guys that, again, balance is super important. If you work on it a bunch, you will see some amazing improvements to your training. Whether it's you're able to stick prees 1,000 times better, you're able to move around with twists and navigate a lot easier than it was before, or whatever you find, balancing can be a huge improvement. So I strongly encourage you guys to follow along with this lesson, try all these skills, do them consistently so you can feel that strength benefit, and practice it a lot, because like I said, proprioception is like a muscle. The more you work on it, the better you'll get at it. So, thank you guys for watching this video, and don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, comment, tell me how you liked it, ring that notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.